Hey you guys, so I thought I would check in with you and do a 3-month post-op update for you guys, along with talking about some pretty, I feel like, serious topics that kind of circulate around getting a BBL. So I'm going to be talking to you about why I didn't go to Miami for surgery, and also the things you absolutely need to know. Like, you would need to watch this before you get a BBL or surgery, I think, just in general, because I'm going to be sharing with you kind of like how I decided on Dr. Jung, my experience with Miami, because I actually was supposed to get my surgery in Miami last year, and just some things happened and I really wanted to share that with you. And truthfully, like, I made this channel to kind of show you my life, like, behind the scenes, and I feel like my surgery has still been a pretty relevant thing that I've been, I guess, going through. And so promise you guys, if you are watching, that this channel will not only just be about surgeries, but I just feel like, with all the, talk and chatter that happens around getting a BBL, I really felt like from my heart that I wanted to share this, because it really truly could save your life if you watch this video. And we'll get more into that, but I really do feel like me sharing this to those of you who maybe are considering getting this done, like, it really could truly help you make the best decision possible for you, and a safe decision. If that interests you, be sure to continue watching. I do have some notes here that I've taken on my phone, and this might be a little lengthy of a video, but it's truly going to be from the heart, and hopefully this will help those of you out there who are interested in getting the surgery or surgery in general. But just real quick before I get into the topic, I wanted to just give you a quick little update on my 3 months post-op and how I'm feeling and all of that. So basically, I'm fully back at work. I've been taking pretty much full bookings, and I feel completely normal. I'm sitting. I didn't really start sitting fully until like this week. I mean, I still use my BBL pillow when I'm driving. When I can, I sleep on my stomach still. I still try as much as I can not to put a lot of pressure on my butt, but I am kind of slowly getting there. I think there's like this fear when you get it done. You're like, oh my gosh, is it gonna go away? But I've actually been keeping pretty good record of my measurements every 2 weeks. So from week 8 to now, measurements have not changed at all. So booty's still the same width, waist is still around the same width as well. And so that kind of showed me, okay, gradually you've been sitting, you've been putting some pressure on it, like it hasn't really affected the booty area. I haven't really noticed a decrease in the booty area since week 4. Week 4, I've been pretty much steady out the measurements that I took. So if you want to see specifics, look in my description box. I have my prior stats and my current stats below. The places that I'm feeling the most, I guess, like tingly if I have my faja off for too long is like on my obliques here and on my lower arm. I just feel like probably because I had the most fat in those areas to remove, and maybe those are just areas that take longer to heal. I do have a follow-up with Jung next week, so that'll be really interesting to be able to ask him these questions and see like what he says. But yeah, other than that, I feel pretty good. I just started wearing the faja half days, so exactly 12 hours. So like if I put it on at 7 a.m., I'm gonna take it off at 7 p.m. and no earlier, no later than that. Because I just, from the research I've done, they say, you don't want to excessively use the faja because you want your body to be able to take that shape on its own. So I want to have a healthy balance, because I do like, the way I look in the faja, but obviously there's just a lot of things that I haven't been able to wear because of the faja. So I'm really glad now that I can actually take breaks and wear things that I want to wear. And I've been buying like some new outfits, and I really need to go through my closet and just try everything on and see what still fits me. But surprisingly, actually, a lot of the stuff that I have, I'm still able to wear. It actually fits me better. But that's about it. I mean, I've still been trying to eat pretty clean, low sodium, low carbs, and I think I've been able to do a pretty good job at maintaining the weight that I've been at. I do feel like I want to lose a little bit of weight, not a ton, maybe like a couple pounds, specifically just in like the midsection. With the massages, I was doing massages starting at week 8. I was doing a massage every other week, a lymphatic drainage massage. Now I've narrowed it down to once a month. And then we're gonna start doing some cavitation treatments. So they use like ultrasound waves and radio frequency to help burn fat. And so I think, honestly, I'm excited to see kind of the results that could happen from that. There is still like, I feel like a little bit on my stomach that I wanna like tone down more. And so I'm hoping that just cavitation and of course keep clean eating, and once I really start ramping up with the workouts again, that it'll slim me down more. But I am really happy. I am so happy with the results. Again, if you guys have any specific questions, I know you guys have been asking me, DMing me. I do plan on doing a Q&A, probably my next video, my next check-in with you guys to really get down to like your specific questions. But if you haven't already, go ahead and just watch all the other vlogs that I've posted, because maybe your questions will be answered in those videos. And it's just really helpful to see like the day-by-day journey, because it's hard for me to explain all of that in just one video. You really truly have to just watch the whole process. So let's get into this conversation. Again, these are just my opinions, my experience. Yours could be completely different, and I totally respect your guys' viewpoints if you're watching this. And if you're watching this and you don't agree with surgery in general, or you don't like BBLs or whatever, like, please just stay off my page. Please stay off this video. Just tune out right now. Like, why waste your time hearing about this if you're just gonna talk crap? So I'm sharing purely from my heart, genuinely to help others who are considering this, because at the end of the day, when you decide that you want to get this done, you want to get this done. There's really not a lot of people that can like persuade you, at least for me. Like, once I made my decision, it was like, yeah, I had to know that people were going to have their opinions, and I was just going to have to like do this regardless. Of course, with some balance, and we'll get into that, because I think it's important to hear other people's opinions and other people's stories and take from it what you will and learn and apply that to your own journey, so that you can do this the smartest, safest way. Because I'm just going to open up my notes here to make sure that I cover all the points I want to make. But this decision is really serious. As much as it's exciting and it's life-changing, and you know, you want to look good and it's just going to boost your confidence. Like, there's so many positives to it, but there is a dark side to this. There is something very serious to consider, that your life really truly could be on the line. And hopefully what I share with you in this video is going to help you to not get hurt from this, or hopefully, you know, God willing, like, you survive this. I'm still just so thankful that I had no complications. I had nothing, you know, like, I'm so thankful. And I think the things that I did leading up to it is what made this the safest thing possible. So really truly understand the weight of this decision. I'm 30 years old, and I feel like I made this decision at the perfect time of my life for me, because leading up to this, I've done everything that I really truly feel like I could have done to get to the body that I wanted. I grew up an athlete. I played sports. I've done a triathlon. I've been in the best shape. Like, I would say when I was 24 years old, 24, 25, I was at the best shape of my life. I weighed the lowest I'd weighed in my adult life. I looked pretty good, but I just still didn't have that proportion that I wanted, especially too after having a kid. Your body changes, your body doesn't like lose fat as easily, and your skin changes. So yeah, just to give you that context, I just really truly felt like I was ready to make this decision, because I was introduced to getting a BBL like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and I couldn't afford it back then. But now, you know, that I have a substantial career and I saved and all that, I was like, you know what, I think I'm ready to make this choice. So initially, when I decided to get a BBL, of course, like, the number one place that popped into my head was Miami. And Miami, of course, I think is just kind of like the capital in the US for BBLs, and it's more affordable. And I was like, well, yeah, hell yeah. Like if I can get a good result and it's cheaper, I definitely want to look into going to Miami. And I've had a handful of friends. Oops, sorry, I'm gonna answer this. Where was I? So I was like set on going to Miami. And so I started researching doctors, and I came across a doctor called Dr. Fisher, Jonathan Fisher. And I, again, this is my experience. Everything happens for a reason, I believe. And I think once you guys hear this story, you're gonna be like, holy crap, that was definitely the universe, whoever you believe in, God, intervening. And I'm still just so thankful. So I contacted Dr. Fisher's office, and actually they have an option where you can put 50% down, and that'll bump you up on their list, or bump your date up. So you don't get an actual date. They just give you kind of like a time frame, and they say, okay, well, we'll put you at the top of the wait list, and if something opens up for that time frame, you're like guaranteed to get something for that time frame. So for me, it was October of 2019. And so maybe about a month before October, I want to say it was like maybe end of August, beginning of September, they contacted me. They said, hey, here's your date. And I'm like, well, can I choose a different date? And they're like, no, this is the date. If you want to change it, you're gonna have to wait till the next wait list, which was gonna be in March of 2022. And I was like, that's weird, because I remember asking, if I wanted to decline the date that you give me, could I get another one within the same time frame? And they said yes. So there we go, red flag number one. They totally went back on their word, and I was stuck with this date. So it's like, okay, I don't even, have barely time to like plan this out, and also all the things that they required of me to provide medically in such a short period of time. So they wanted me to provide all of my blood work. They wanted me to go get a chest x-ray and a physical, a doctor physical, and have a note signed by the doctor, all within pretty much like a 2-week span, because they were like, well, it has to be within 4 weeks of surgery, but we need it 2 weeks before surgery. So basically you only had a 2-week window to give them all of this stuff. And we're here still kind of in the midst of COVID. And you guys know, like, getting an appointment with a doctor this time has been crazy. So then, I go and thankfully somehow get all of this stuff done. I, submit my labs and everything, and then they call me and say, hey, your blood work was a little off. And I was like, okay, well, what is it? And they said, well, it's the PTT, which I don't even know what it stands for, but basically it's the amount of time it takes for your blood to clot. And my blood was taking a little, like, seriously, maybe a point or two below what it should be to clot. But I guess in medical sense, anything off is going to be concerning, especially when it comes to blood, because you're getting a lot of blood, you're having a lot of blood loss during the surgery, and, you're going to be leaking fluids, and you're going to have incisions, that are open. So that it is concerning to have any sort of blood mishaps. So I understood. I was like, okay, I totally get it. This is what this is for. But I was just frustrated that I only had 2 weeks to figure out what was going on, because I've never had anything with my blood pop up in my life. I had a perfect pregnancy. I had no hemorrhaging, like nothing. So I was so confused by this. And so they told me I need to go to a hematologist, or get a hematologist to sign off on the surgery, which again, I was even lucky to even get a primary care visit. And now they want me to go to a hematologist? Like, y'all are tripping. So I was just praying to the gods that this would be able to happen, but so far everything just was not going smoothly, and I already was feeling like, oh, is this a sign to hold off? Like, I just, am I gonna lose my deposit? I don't know. I just started to get that feeling, but I was just so set on making this happen. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do everything in my power to see this through, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. And so, long story, I know this is already getting long, but the primary care doctor I had was terrible. So first of all, advice to you is to find a primary care doctor that isn't going to insert their own opinions toward you. Because this doctor was telling me, I don't think you should get this surgery. It's COVID right now. Miami's going to be a hot spot for COVID. You know, you should definitely be getting vaccinated before then. And, you know, all that talk was being thrown around as well. And you're not supposed to get any immunizations at least 2 months before your surgery. So another thing to consider. And I was like, what should I do? You know, and she was just making me really confused and frustrated. And so when I told her that the blood work thing happened, it was just being really difficult to work with. And she was inserting her own opinions into my life. And so first and foremost, I think you need to have a visit with your primary care doctor before you put a deposit down with a doctor for surgery, because you want to just go get this, you know, go get a physical, make sure you're healthy. Which, by the way, she was telling me, oh, your BMI is high. I'm like, well, no, duh. Like, I need to have a little more fat on me for the surgery. Go and get blood work. If you're able to get the same blood work that they're going to require for surgery, here's the main things you're going to need. You're going to need to know your PTT, which I forget what that stands for, your hemoglobin levels. And I think those are like the main numbers. But of course, everything just needs to be you need to just get a general panel to make sure all of your blood levels are looking good, but specifically your blood clot time and your hemoglobin levels. So if you can get that done prior to even putting a deposit down, that way you just know that you're healthy and you don't have to go through what I went through, because this was so freaking stressful. I can't even tell you. Basically, I was not able to get in with the hematologist on time. I had to get approved and all this stuff. I mean, you know how long, if you've had any medical issues before, which I didn't ever before, so I never knew truly how long it would take. But I was not going to be able to get a letter written by a hematologist in time. And I was trying to explain this to my coordinator at Fisher's office. And from the jump, even before any of these complications were happening, this lady was a bitch. Like, I'm sorry I don't use that word very much, but she was a bitch for no reason. And I was just really appalled that I was being treated this way before that situation even happened. And I just feel like if you're gonna have your patient coordinators acting this way, it's just such a turn off. Like, I was just so put off by her. And then on top of that, when the situation was happening, I was like, no, there was no empathy. There was no like, okay, like, let's see what we can do to make this work. I also was trying to talk to Dr. Fisher. I was like, can I please have a FaceTime or something, a phone call with Dr. Fisher to be able to understand what this means? Because at the time, I didn't know what the heck any of this meant. And he wasn't willing to get on the phone with me. She said, nope, Dr. Fisher does not talk to patients until day of surgery. And I'm like, okay. So another thing that really helped me decide moving forward who I was going to get surgery from was from a doctor that was going to talk to me. Especially in a situation like this, I just feel like this is a life or death surgery sometimes. And if my blood was going to be an issue, then I would have liked to have heard from me. You have $1,000 of my money to lock in this surgery, and you're gonna go and play with my money like that and not want to talk to me. That was just really concerning to me. In the end, basically, they ended up canceling my surgery. They said, because they basically had to get some like additional in-depth blood work done. And there was a factor called the von Willebrand factor that was low. And so they said, oh, that makes you not a candidate anymore. We're sorry, we're canceling your surgery. And I had already paid in full for my surgery. So thankfully they returned that, but they took, you know, in their contract it says 30 days that I'd get it back. It took them 45 days to get it back to me. And I had to hound them. I had to call them and politely, of course, but firmly tell them, hey, you said in your contract you'd be getting this money back to me in 30 days. I definitely could have taken legal action, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give them a little grace, and they did eventually give me back my money, but I did get my deposit taken out. So I feel like, to me, that in a sense was a little bit scam-like to me, because I was like, first of all, I'm getting treated like crap by you guys. You guys give such a like unrealistic time frame to complete all of this, and then if any complications come up, it gives me no time to figure out what the heck went wrong. And I couldn't talk to the doctor. It was just like an overall really disappointing experience. I was so disappointed. I was like, you know, I lost money. I felt unmotivated. I was like, is this the universe telling me that I should not do this? I had to get to a point where I accepted that I may not be able to get this surgery. And that honestly took a big toll on me mentally. Like, thankfully though, throughout my life, I've been able to kind of overcome obstacles like this and use it as a time to grow. So actually during that time, I decided to hire employees. I started to take my business up another level, and things have been just thriving since then. So I overcame it. I didn't let it define me, and I didn't let it define like my self-esteem either, because I think the number one thing to remember going into getting surgery is that you will never not criticize your body, okay? Like you can, I've known so many people who are like beautiful on the outside and inside, but there's always like little issues, you know, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that. And you think, you know, I kind of thought, you know, if I get surgery, it's gonna make me like totally happy. You know, I'm gonna be so happy with my body. And I will tell you right now, that is not the case. And so my advice, of course, before getting surgery is to love yourself completely the way you are before you go in. And realize that yes, it will improve your life, it'll improve your confidence, it'll make you happier, but it's not gonna completely eliminate your insecurities. It's not gonna completely make you happy. So go into surgery knowing that there's still some work to be done here on the inside and in here. Because I still feel like, even with the body I'm in now, that I've had to kind of mentally catch up, because my mind is still in the body that it was for 30 years. And I'm still kind of, you know, adjusting, and I have felt like a confidence boost, but, and again, this is just my story. To others, I'm sure, you know, maybe the insecurities weren't that deep for them, but for me, I have some deep-rooted things from childhood that I've had to overcome. And so during that time where I really thought, okay, the universe is telling me I shouldn't get this surgery, I had to truly accept, like, okay, I need to love me for me. Now, you know, think of other options, like maybe investing in a personal trainer again, and this, like, really trying to truly get back to where I was before I had a child. And so I was on my way there. You know, I mean, I definitely mentally had come to terms with that. And so I think it shouldn't take a situation, I guess, for you to also come to that terms, because I think it's important to come to that realization before you get surgery, is that you have to love you, and know that the outcome of your surgery is unknown. You know, you don't know how it's going to turn out. You don't know, you know, if that's going to completely make your insecurities go away. So just lower your expectations and know that you truly need to love yourself before you get this done. And then, you know, in conversation, I was talking to friends and clients and whatnot, and I came across Dr. Jung's name. And I looked at his profile and all of that, and I was like blown away. I was like, whoa, I really like his work. And all in the meanwhile, I actually continued to see the hematologist, and it came out that in my next panel of blood work that I did, it was normal. Everything was normal. And I was like, wow, everything was normal, but I fell in love with Dr. Jung's work. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna see if this surgeon is gonna be a better fit for me. So I ended up submitting a consult with him, and I ended up actually locking in a date with him for May of 2023. At the time, I was introduced to a medium that, and again, I know not everyone's into this, but I had heard of this medium. His name's Felix Lerma, and he's in San Francisco. And my friend spoke so highly of him. She had sent all of her friends and family to him and said, this guy is, I mean, the best. He is so accurate. He says everything to the T, blah, blah, blah. You have to see him. So I was like, immediately, I had to contact his assistant and get on his wait list, and I was scheduled to talk to him either in like April or May. So I was like, cool, I'm gonna definitely continue to meditate on this, continue to look into the blood work, focus on my business, and just wait to ask this medium what he thinks about me getting surgery. Fast forward, moving to May of 2022, this year, I had the appointment with the medium, and he told me a bunch of other cool things, but he said, "Do you have any questions?" I said, "Okay, the number one thing that's been on my mind is I was supposed to get surgery last year." And I didn't tell him anything else. I said, "I was supposed to get surgery last year, and I just want you to tell me about that, what you see about that." Because I didn't want to give him any details. And this guy hit the nail on the head. He said, "Honey, your blood was too thin. And you got to look into that. You got to, get to the root of it. Just figure out what it was. I think what I'm seeing is your blood is irregular sometimes. And it just wasn't the right time. Everything happens for a reason." And I said, "Okay, so I have an appointment scheduled for May of next year, but the doctor does have a wait list. There's a possibility I could get in sooner. What do you think? Like, truly," and I don't want you, I told him, I was like, "I seriously don't want you to tell me what I want to hear, because I've already accepted that maybe this surgery isn't right for me, but I'm open to what you have to say. I trust you, and I want you to tell me like what you see, that I would want to know if I would be okay if I did get the surgery, like health-wise, that I would live through this, that I'd be healthy, I'd be good." And he's like, "I do." He's like, "I do see you getting this surgery." He's like, "Does it have to do with this area here?" And I'm like, "Yes." He's like, and he's like, "I do see you getting that removed, and I see you being okay." And I was like, "Okay." And he's like, "I actually see you getting this done in August. Your doctor's gonna have a cancellation, and you're gonna go, and you're gonna get it done. You're gonna be fine." He's like, "But promise me you're gonna look into your blood work again." Because like I said, I had already looked into it again, and it was all normal. So I thought, oh, okay, it was just literally a fluke. And so I said, "I promise I will look into this again." He's like, "Okay, as long as you look into your blood work again, it's good, you're good to go, then I think you are gonna get this surgery and it's gonna go great." So now we're here. I did what he said. I contacted my hematologist again, and I said, "Hey, I'm planning on getting this surgery. I want to get onto Dr. Jung's wait list, and I really just want to have peace of mind. So do you think we could run those blood panels again?" She's like, "Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what happens." So not only did I go get the blood work done for the hematologist, but I also went to get my labs done for Jung. And I contacted Sarah, who's the patient coordinator, super nice, by the way, at Jung's office, and I told her I was ready to take blood work and submit it to the office. So I did both, and I got it submitted to Jung's office, which came back normal from what I saw. They said, "Oh, yep, you're approved. We'll let you know if we have any openings within the next few months." So I already in the background was kind of like planning it like I was prior, which I felt so much more at peace about, because I kind of knew what to prepare for. I knew who I needed to talk to. I knew that what I needed to set up, my massages and all of that. Start talking to clients, being like, "Hey, this could happen soon." And then also I got the blood results from the hematologist, which she did a more in-depth blood panel than Jung did, which I guess is kind of good, because there's like that underlying, like I said earlier, Vaughn's Willebrand factor, factor 8, something like that. And so again, in that blood work, she did see that there was a little bit of a low number in the Vaughn's Willebrand factor. And so she's like, "Okay, I'm going to refer you to a hematologist at Stanford, and then that way they can look further into it, and you can get some answers." So then I was like, okay, I had plenty of time. I didn't have I told myself, like, I'm not going to pressure this whatsoever like last time. I'm going to give this full time to develop and come to light and not force anything. And all of it's, and I literally, guys, every day was meditating. I picked up this art from a book that I was reading earlier this year, and it changed my life. I still meditate to this day. So some people, meditation could be like prayer, And I do suggest that, you know, when you decide to get the surgery, that you take on meditation. And because, like I said, there is a lot of risk involved with getting the surgery, I just kept visualizing myself getting this surgery and waking up and being okay. And I kept telling myself, I am healthy, I am well. And I said that to myself literally up to the moment that I was put out for surgery. And so I kept meditating on this. My friend, she literally called me. I was like in a service and I didn't answer, but she texted me and she was like, dude, Jung just posted that he had an opening. You gotta go get it. So I went to go get it and basically I locked it in. Okay. And that was, I had about 3 weeks to prepare. And, you know, everything was good on my end with, you know, the family that was going to help me with my son. And then I talked to the hematologist at Stanford. She went through all of my, you know, blood work with me and talked to me about my medical history and all of that. And she kind of explained a few things that it could have been. She said, well, your blood type, we've seen that your blood type in the past can have this factor, it's a little bit lower in this factor, but it's so slight that I'm not concerned about it. She's like, I do feel like maybe if you want, we can do further genetic testing to see if it's some sort of genetic thing that was passed on or what. But she's like, I do feel pretty comfortable with you getting surgery. And like, all right, cool. Like that was my confirmation that I was good to go. So basically, I got my surgery. I actually just had a follow-up with my hematologist a couple of days ago because she said, hey, I want to touch base with you after your surgery. And she was so nice. She actually called me the day before my surgery and said, hey, I hope everything goes well. And I just wanted to, you know, check in with you. And I am going to make an appointment for us to touch base in a couple months to see how it went. And I hope everything goes well. So God bless her. And so I did check in with her. I let her know everything went great. And she was like, oh, I'm so glad to hear that and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, cool, now we can put that in your medical record that, you know, you're pretty good. She's like, the only time I probably would check in again is if you're going to have another baby. I said, all right, definitely will keep that in mind moving forward. Oh, let me look back at my notes. I want to make sure I cover everything I wanted to cover. Like I said, I know this video is getting kind of long. When it comes to getting a BBL, going back to the decision about Miami and going to Jung instead, Jung is definitely more expensive. And I know you guys want to know specifics on pricing and whatnot. I will try to give you that answer in my Q&A. So be sure to stay tuned for that episode. But because I still actually don't feel like I've been able to add up everything because I'm still getting massages. I'm still, you know, it's an ongoing thing, like even 3 months after surgery. And I feel like it's going to be an ongoing thing for a minute. And it's a true lifestyle change too. And like, that's what I loved about Jung, is that he's so much about it becoming a lifestyle that I got to FaceTime with him right when I got my date. About a week later, I had a Zoom call with him and he answered my questions. And he's like, I love doing these touch bases because I feel like the day of surgery, you're super nervous. You're not gonna, you know, want to waste time and ask questions, and you're gonna be not thinking clearly. So, which is so true. Like literally the day of surgery, I remember he's like, any questions? I was like, nope. I was shaking. I was so nervous. So I'm like, so glad that Jung does these calls before. And I just think, and everyone has their own opinions and preferences, but I just feel like I liked that I was treated like a human. That I wasn't treated like I was just another number, that I was just another body. And that is just the tone that I got from the doctor in Miami. And again, like I said, I've had a ton of friends who've gone to Miami and everything was great. So I'm not talking down on it, but I'm just telling you my experience. And maybe hopefully you can avoid some of those things that I experienced and just ask the right questions. So I just feel like I definitely would need to talk to my surgeon prior, and I would need to know if there was complications that he would be easy to talk to. And I never felt at any point that Jung was not available to me. And I loved that. I loved that I was treated that way. And so that is my critique of Miami, is that so many people are getting BBLs like every day, all day, and they kind of treat you like a number over there. And I felt like with Jung, I was treated like a person. And also, you know, I watched a bunch of videos, like YouTube videos on Jung, and, you know, at the time when I was going to go to the other doctor, I'd watch videos on him. And I'm telling you, when you go and you watch these videos on your doctor, watch every single video before you even make a deposit. Like, watch every single video possible on your doctor so that you can hear everybody's experience. Because I did come across a video about Dr. Fisher that said that this girl literally feels like he didn't even do her surgery. And that's kind of the rumor spreading around about Miami, is that like they're doing so many BBLs in a day that there's no way that one person is doing this. Even Jung addressed this. He's like, I at the most will do 3 surgeries in a day, and he only specializes, like, I think at this point he's only doing BBLs because that's like his specialty. And I feel like if you're gonna go to a plastic surgeon for BBL, you need to make sure that they're a BBL doctor, like that's what they're known for, because there's plastic surgeons out there that do boob jobs, that do everything on the spectrum, but what's their specialty? And if their specialty isn't a BBL, I wouldn't suggest going to them. I would suggest going to a doctor that is known for BBLs. And so Jung, he is the BBL goat, you know? And so he was saying, I don't do more than 3 BBLs, if even 3s, like 2 is like my sweet spot. Because I do the whole thing, and I truly believe he does, because the quality and all of his work is consistent. You'll see on his page, everybody looks good, everybody looks consistent. And you have to realize too that your doctor, no matter how much you kind of tell them, you know, this is how I want to look or that, they're going to usually do what they've consistently done. So if you go and you look at a doctor's page and you're like, well, there's some girls that I don't really like how they look, and there's some that I do, which I kind of felt now looking back, looking at Fisher's page, I felt that way on some of his clients. I was like, there's some that I like, some that I don't. But I have to say, with Jung's page, I liked every single person. Even when I went to, and if you guys haven't already gone and looked at realself.com, it's basically a Yelp for plastic surgery. So don't only just look at their Instagrams, because the thing about Instagram and their profiles is that they can select what pictures to post. They can show you their best work, which is great, you know, but you want to go and see the true thing, right? You want to get client testimonials and see their pictures. And so when you go to Real Self, you'll see a bunch of testimonials, pictures that are uploaded from the client themselves. And so also too, just Google your doctor. Google it and read the reviews. Read everything possible about the doctor you're looking into. And everything, I swear to God, that I read about Jung, that he was double plastic board certified, which again, not every single plastic surgeon is board certified. Go and make sure your doctor is board certified. He's won awards for his 4D silk ab etching. So he's gotten public recognition for his work. And he's had consistent work, not only on his Instagram, but on his Real Self page and reviews. And I felt with Fisher, there was like some inconsistencies. So like I said, rumors in Miami that like they have their other assistant or their, you know, whatever other doctor doing these surgeries so that they can do multiple in a day. So, you know, maybe Fisher does like, or, you know, whatever Miami doctor starts the surgery and then has someone else finish it. But it's like, you don't want to go to someone who's just going to do part of the surgery. You want to make sure that you're going to a surgeon that's going to do the entire surgery. And that's what I love, is that Jung is so open about that, and his work is consistent all across the board. Consistent. And I liked every single person's after. For me, I wanted to have a little bit more of a natural look too. And Jung does such a good job at doing those like more naturals, or what they call like skinny BBLs. And I wanted that look. I do kind of feel like Miami's known for like the way their girls look. They look a little more fake. There is those exceptions, but I just feel like a majority of the Miami clients that I've seen, they all come out kind of looking the same, and they kind of look more exaggerated, and I didn't want that. I wanted people to look at me and be like, did she get surgery? Did she? And I'm telling you, everybody that I didn't actually tell I had surgery or doesn't follow me on social media, they all just say or have said to me like, you look good. Like, you know, did you lose weight? Have you been working out? What have you been doing? The surgery is not the first thing that they think of when they look at me, from the feedback that I've gotten. And I do truly feel like if I hadn't shared this at all on my pages, like I don't think anybody would have actually guessed I had surgery. So that's the number one thing I wanted, was like it to not look like I got a BBL, but for, you know, for it to be like on the border of like, did she not? Now, do I feel like sometimes I kind of wish I had a little bit bigger of hips, little bit bigger of that and a little smaller of this? Of course, like I said, you're not going to stop critiquing yourself, and there's always room to improve. So, but I do feel like Jung got me pretty fucking close to what I wanted. And, you know, there's just that certain look that he does that I feel like is worth the price. You know, I do believe you get what you pay for in plastic surgery, and his girls look expensive, okay? And I wanted to look quality. I didn't want to be cheap with this on the second time around. Too, when you consider getting your surgery, not only do you have to consider the cost of the surgery, but the aftercare. It's kind of like, the way I thought of it was, it's kind of like getting a Mercedes or a nice car. You think, oh, okay, I can afford to make the payments, I can get this car. But what happens when you need to get an oil change, or you need a part or whatever? It costs a lot more money to own a Mercedes because of the maintenance. Consider that when you get a BBL, in order for it to continue to look the way you want it to look, and all of that, you need to not only make a lifestyle change, so like cleaning up your diet, working out, and doing that like leading up to surgery, so that you can already be in the habit of doing that, and that your body's in its healthiest state before you go into surgery. And then afterwards, you know, to maintain it, because you can gain weight after surgery. You know, yeah, they do remove fat cells in those areas and put them in other areas, but fat can still expand and shrink. So if you gain weight after surgery, significant amount of weight, it will be noticeable. Maybe be more in different areas, but you can still gain weight and, you know, not have as great of results as you could have if you would have maintained it. So again, too, like considering getting massages and taking time off work. Like I work for myself, and so I had to consider that I could be out of work for, you know, up to like 4 weeks potentially. I didn't start going back to work till about, like 3.5 weeks, 4 weeks, and I eased into it. So I didn't even get to take full clientele until I was about 2 months post-op. So again, considering that loss of income, the income, you know, the money that goes towards, you know, your flight, your Airbnb, your aftercare, your faja, all of these things. So just be sure that you're not, you know, and I know I've been getting asked how much I spent, and the reason why I don't know is because I didn't have a budget going to this. I said, you know, whatever it costs, and I needed to make sure that I had enough and that I felt secure enough financially that I could just say, yep, okay, I have to get another massage, or okay, I have to buy another faja, fine. You know, I didn't have a budget, and that's why I just haven't even kept track, because I'm like, I made sure I could afford it. It's like getting a luxury car, or a home. You got to be able to upkeep it and afford the things that come with it. Also, something to keep in mind, especially if you're a parent, or a single parent, if that, is that yes, you can get this done. I'm a single mom, and I just had to make sure I had a community around me, and to plan to have that support for at least 2 weeks of your post-surgery. And even on call for like a month, because there was a weird incident like week 3 where I was all of a sudden getting the chills. I was hot, and then I was chilly, and then I started getting like weird sensation in my legs, and I had to call my friend and say, hey, can you come over and like help me with Devin? Can you help me drive him to school? Like I don't feel good. And I literally was, you know, tripping out that I was feeling this way, but eventually it went away. Was able to reach out to Jung and ask him about it, and he was like, you know, it seems like something that can just pass, so if it's not, then go to your primary care. And I was fine. But yeah, like 3 weeks post-op, and I had been feeling fine up to that point, I did have to call my friend for help. So just make sure you have your support team available to you for at least like 4 weeks after surgery. I did kind of touch on this before, but just make sure you ask your doctor, you know, what are you gonna need from me, and what timeline do I have, or, you know, what kind of blood work, how long do I have, what are grounds for you to be able to take my deposit, or, you know, for me to forfeit my deposit, and ask, you know, say if my blood work is kind of, you know, iffy, how long do I have to get that back, you know, get it normal, and, you know what I'm saying? So what I loved about Jung's office is that they actually allow you like a 6-month period to get your blood work done, and if anything pops up, it's more than enough time to be able to figure out what's going on. So I think that that's a really important question to ask the places you're looking into, because again, with my experience with Dr. Fisher's office, I was like, how is that realistic? If I would have known that they would have handled it that way, I would have never gone to them, seriously, because it's like anything can happen. And yeah, I think that's a really important question to ask. I know, again, this video is getting a little long, but hopefully it's giving you some helpful information. Please make sure you subscribe and like this video so it can help others who are watching this. Again, I'm trying to save lives doing this. I did watch some videos about people's incidences, like family members dying or having complications from surgery. And which my advice is, yes, I do think you should watch those videos, but once you've decided you want the surgery, there's a time and a place to kind of cut off watching those things, because you don't want to keep attracting that type of energy into your experience, because you could be totally fine. You know, there's just that chance, but why keep giving something energy that you don't want to bring into your journey? And I was in the space where I was watching those videos. I did listen with the intent of like, okay, what could I do differently to avoid that? And I just feel like some of these stories sadly could have completely been avoided already by the tips that I've given you. A lot of these girls, I think, lives could have been saved by watching, you know, my videos and listening to the tips that I have. But more importantly, I think the number one thing is to listen to your gut. Go into this saying, you know, allowing the universe, God, whoever you believe in, to allow this or to not allow it. And you need to be open to that. You need to say, hey, if this is meant for me and I'm going to be okay coming out of this, I'm going to go forward with this. But if not, like, please do not allow this to happen. Universe, God, do not allow this to happen, because I value my life more than getting surgery. And I think ultimately it's trusting your gut. If you're able to speak with your doctor before, if you're able to even visit the facility before, or, you know, again, watching a ton of YouTube videos, and if you're getting a peace about it, then again, keep moving forward. But I've seen stories where it's like they went to the surgery center and it looked really sketchy, and yet they still moved forward. And I'm like, the second you feel any discomfort, seriously, like any discomfort, any gut feeling, and I think that's been a God-given intuition that women have, and, you know, I'm sure some men have it as well, but I think women in particular, we tend to have these gut feelings and we ignore them. And because, you know, I know for me, I'm really stubborn sometimes and I'm impatient. I'm like, I want what I want when I want it. I'm not going to take no for an answer. But when it comes to this, sometimes you need to be open to the possibility that no would be the answer, and your life is more important. Okay, don't ever forget that. Your life is more important. Again, I had to come to terms with, okay, if I don't get the surgery done, will I still be happy? Will I still love myself? And I did get to that point. I said, I will still love myself. I will still move forward with what I had already been doing in my career and my life, and do it confidently. I think it's really important to get to that place and to make sure that you're in a positive space. I've heard some women getting this done literally months after having their child, and they're still in this postpartum depression state, and they're still not allowing their body to fully heal. And so my advice to women who have had children and want to get a mommy makeover, I would wait at least a year until you get this done, because I feel like truly it took me personally a year to physically and mentally get back to myself. You need to be in the most clear headspace to get this surgery, to make a good decision, and to, of course, financially be able to do this, and that your child can be without you. You know, my son is 3 years old now. He just turned 3, like the day I got back from surgery. And I felt like he was at an age where he was able to, you know, be without me. And so I just feel like if you got a newborn or a 1-year-old, or an under 1-year-old, you know, give it some time. Like, there's no rush. Like, why is there a rush? You know what I'm saying? Like, when it comes to this kind of decision, it should not be forced. It should not be rushed. There should not be pressure. You should not feel like, if I get this done, it's going to make me happy, because it's not. You need to fix yourself before. You need to make sure you're in the right headspace. Make sure you're in tune with the universe, God, whoever it is you believe in, and meditate and start visualizing yourself being healthy, loving yourself, and seek counsel if you need to. Seek therapy, seek a medium, whatever it is you believe in, seek that counsel and talk to people that have had this experience already. If there's any opinion that you should take into consideration, because there's going to be opinions from people that haven't had this surgery or don't believe in surgery or whatever, those I feel like are opinions that don't matter in this case. The opinions that matter are the people who've had the surgery, who've gone through it, who've gone specifically to the doctor that you're considering, and your medical professional's opinion, the ones that you align with, of course, and the ones that, and people that you know that just support you 1,000%, that love you, that want what's best for you, that hopefully too have also had surgeries in the past. They can give you some of their insight. So feel free to ask me any additional questions. Like I said, I'll be sure to try to answer them in my next Q&A video. And feel free to add me on Instagram. I've had a few of you contact me via DM, and I've been able to chat with you guys and give you my opinions, and I'm gonna be trying my best to make myself available. But of course, as you know, if you follow me on my main channel, that's the channel I'm the most active on, but I do plan to continue to keep sharing with you about this process. It is kind of coming to a close. Hopefully, you know, I can kind of figure out what I want this channel to be about. So let me know maybe what you want to see from me. Yeah, I love you guys. I hope this was helpful, and I really hope truly, truly that this saves someone's life in the end, and that it gives you a really positive experience, especially if you do decide to go to Jung. And yeah, I'll keep you guys posted. Love you. Bye.